showed me who they were. I showed them who I became. Not with anger, not with revenge, not with their game. Just with the years of work they swore I'd never do. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became and grew. They showed me who they were in the coldest way. Pulled the floor out from beneath me on an ordinary day. No warning and no mercy, and no hand to break the fall. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became. That's all. It happened on a Tuesday, the kind that starts to clean, the kind that doesn't advertise the damage it will bring. They smiled when they did it, that part I still remember, the particular warmth of the face that made the room December. In the second that it landed, in the second that I knew that everything I trusted was designed to see me through. The door and not the finish was the plan from the beginning. I sat with that all winter while they went on winning. The room that I had given them, the trust I had supplied, the access to the building I had built from the inside. I gave them all of it, and they used it on the way out. And I sat in the empty building, in the cold and in the drought of everything that followed. And I made a quiet choice not to spend the years on the performance of the voice that wanted to announce it, that wanted them to know. I chose to let the building speak louder than the show. Betrayal is a teacher dressed in the worst clothes you've seen. It shows you every fault line in the trust you thought was clean. And once you see the fault lines, you can build around the truth of what survives the breaking and what doesn't have the proof. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became. Didn't need the confrontation, didn't need to name every single thing they cost me. In the year they took their share. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became. I'm still there. The loneliness that followed was the cleanest kind of hurt, because it came from cutting what had pulled me through the dirt of every year I'd kept them, past the honest reading of the signs that were there early, of the signs I'd been ignoring. In the name of loyalty, in the name of the familiar face that had become a fixture in the architecture of my place. I remodeled without them, took the walls they touched and changed them, took the rooms they'd occupied and quietly rearranged them into something that served the man they'd underestimated, into something that confirmed the building they'd vacated was better without the weight of people who were renting, without the intention of ever really investing. The lesson in a betrayal is not about the one who leaves, it is about the man remaining and what he now believes about his own construction, about his own foundation, about the things that didn't fall when they took their allocation. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became. Let the years be the answer, let the work be the claim. No speech for the audience, no final public word. They showed me who they were. I showed them who I became, and I was heard. Now I move through every room with knowledge that I carry of what a man looks like when the face is ordinary and the intention is the opposite of everything it shows. I carry that like a compass now wherever the road goes. Not cynically, not close, but with the honest calibration of a man who paid the tuition of a very real education and came out the other side still standing, still intact, still building the same building with one critical fact changed permanently inside him, about the cost of open doors, about the vetting of the entrance, about the building and its floors being for the man who earned it, not for anyone who came with a smile and good intentions and a quietly different name. They showed me who they were on a Tuesday, cold and clean, and I will not forget it, and I won't pretend I've been unaffected by the lesson or immune to what it cost. But the cost became the compass and nothing real was lost. There wasn't already sitting on a fault line I'd ignored. I thanked them in the silence for the truth I couldn't afford to see until they gave it, and I built on what remained. They showed me who they were, I showed them who I became. They showed me who they were, I showed them who I became. Who I became, oh, I showed them, yeah. Not with revenge, not with fire, not with blame, just with the years of work they shared I'd never owned. They showed me who they were, I showed them. I came home, door became. They showed me who they were, showed them who I became and grew. They showed me who they were in the coldest way, pulled the floor out from beneath me on an ordinary day. No warning and no mercy, and no hand to break the fall. They showed me who they were, I showed them who I became, that's all. It happened on a Tuesday, the kind that starts to clean, the kind that doesn't advertise the damage it will bring. They smiled when they did it, that part I still remember, the particular warmth of the face that made the room December. In the second that it landed, in the coldest way, pulled the floor out from beneath me on an ordinary day. No warning, no mercy, and no hand to break the fall. They showed me the worst ones taught me the most. I'll give them that. Every hand that hit me taught me how to fall and come back flat against the ground and rise again with something sharper in my eye. The worst ones taught me the most. I'll give them that and say goodbye. The worst ones taught me the most about what lasts, about the difference between the surface and the underneath that casts a shadow over everything until you learn to read the shade. The worst ones taught me the most, and I'm grateful for the trade. The man who lied to my face in the year I needed truth taught me how to read a face before it gives the proof of what it is behind it, before the season turns, before the convenient leaving, when the comfortable thing burns. The woman who left in winter without a forward in a dress taught me that I could survive the coldest kind of mess that arrives without a warning, that moves without a sound. She taught me I was standing on my own particular ground, not on borrowed certainty, not on someone else's stay. She left and I was standing, and I'm standing here today. The friend who used the access I gave him to my life to serve a purpose that was his and mine. taught me what access costs and what it means to give it freely too early and too fully to a face that hadn't earned it. He taught me how to value the trust before I turned it into the open door that anyone could enter. He moved through mine and out and took a piece of center that I had to rebuild, and I rebuilt it stronger with walls that knew their purpose and a door that took much longer. I don't hate the teachers for the harshness of the class. I don't wish the lessons easier. I don't wish they didn't last as long as they needed to carve the lesson in, because the shallow cut heals over and you're back where you begin. The worst ones taught me the most about the real, about the difference between the surface and what's sealed beneath the face of things that want you to believe. The worst ones taught me the most, and I don't grieve. The year that cost the most wasn't the loudest year. It was the quiet one that arrived without the fear of being difficult, that arrived dressed up as fine, that wore the familiar face of every previous line in the story I was living, and that changed the story without announcement and without the basic territory of warning that a man deserves before the ground shifts under, before the life he built on Tuesday arrives on Friday asunder. And in that quiet devastation, in the particular alone of a man whose map stopped working in territory he'd call home, I found a lesson waiting in the rubble of the year, that the map was never the territory and the territory was here, exactly as it was without my story over it. The raw and honest ground without the comfortable edited, and standing on that ground without the story and the frame. I found the man beneath the map, and that man was not the same as the one who needed the story to feel safe enough to stand. That man was older, colder, truer, and he needed no man's hand. Every hard gear is a teacher who takes no attendance. Every cold season builds a man's independence from the comfortable assumption that the world will hold its shape around the life he built inside, around the plan of his escape into the better version that was always just ahead. The hard gear says the better version lives in this year instead. The worst ones taught me the most. I'll give them that. Every cold hand, every closing door, every falling flat produced the man who reads the room before he builds inside it. The worst ones taught me the most. I wouldn't hide it. Tonight I hold the glass and think of every name that belongs to a lesson I received before the frame of who I now hardened into something permanent. And every name on that list paid the full tuition meant for the making of this man, whether they intended it or whether they were only following their own benefit and caring nothing for the building that they were also building, in the man they were dismissing, in the man they were not filling with anything but the lesson of their own particular truth about what people do when given roof and trust and open access to the life of a man who hadn't yet discovered the whole plan. I know the plan now. I know the reading of the face. I know the difference between warmth and the performance of the plays. I don't carry them as damage, I carry them as data. Every worst one was a chapter I'll need to read in life later, when the face arrives again in a different name, when the pattern shows itself before it plays the same game it always plays. I recognize.
I sat alone with all of it, and I came through. No rescue and no witness, Know somebody who knew what the inside of that ear looked like when the door was shut. I sat alone with all of it, and I came through every cut. I sat alone with all of it, and it was mine. Every cold and every darkness and every fault line, I held the whole weight of it in one man's chest. I sat alone with all of it, and I came through. I passed the test. There were nights the walls were closer than they had any right to be. There were mornings where the only reason was the coffee and the me that still existed on the other side of the previous night. The me that found a reason to put on the coat and fight. Through the door into the daylight, that didn't know my name, that asked nothing of the story and continued all the same. Without me at the center, without me in the frame, just the cold and different morning, just the unremarkable came. And when of an ordinary day, in an extraordinary private year, and I walked through every one of them without the one I wanted near, because the one I wanted near had already taken the road that led away from the building where I was carrying the load, alone and in the early hours before the day could start, accounting for the damage in the ledger of the heart, and finding that the total was survivable, was real, was not the end of everything, was something I could feel my way through and come out the other side, still whole, still mine, still the man I said I'd be, still holding the line. Sitting alone with the hard thing is not the losing of the fight. It is the most honest version of a man inside his night. No performance for the gallery, no management of the face, just the raw accounting in the private honest space. I sat alone with all of it, and I came through. Found everything I needed was already in me too. No cavalry, no rescue, no hand reached through the door. I sat alone with all of it, and I came through, and then through more. The loneliness of hard times is a specific kind of weight, not the loneliness of emptiness, not the loneliness of late night searching for connection, but the loneliness of food, full of everything that's happening, full of every pull between the life before it and the life that comes after, full of the particular silence that replaces all the laughter that used to fill the architecture of the daily hours. And in that silent architecture, in those solitary towers of a life reorganizing, because the man inside had always known that the capacity was there if it had to stand alone. Hard times are the season when you find out what is real, when the decoration falls away and you discover what can feel the full weight of the living without assistance from the crowd. The hard times find the man beneath the comfortable and loud version of himself, and they introduce the two, and the introduction changes everything about the view. I sat alone with all of it, and I came through, became the only company I actually needed to. The man inside was bigger than the year outside. I sat alone with all of it, came through with my pride. Now when the hard times come, and they still come, they always do, I sit with them more easily, because I already knew. From the years I sat before them, without anything to hold, that the sitting and the surviving were my own story to be told, by no one else in need, no one else to confirm that I came through the fire, that I refuse to burn down completely in the seasons, and that were asking me to fall. I sat alone with everything, I sat inside the all of it, and came out standing in the particular way that only the man knows who sat with it and stayed through the night.
Everything I know, I paid for with a hard year. Every piece of wisdom cost a price that wasn't clear. When I started paying, only visible at the end. Everything I know, I paid for with a hard year and a bend. In the road I didn't see until I was already in it. Everything I know, I paid for to the minute. No discounts and no shortcuts and no borrowed understanding. Everything I know I paid for with a hard year, still standing. The first thing that I learned was the cost of the trusting. Before the proof was in, before the building had been tested by the weather that reveals the fault lines laid, I trusted on the surface, I paid for it at the gate of the next year, which was harder than the one I just survived. I took the lesson early and I kept it when I arrived at the next version of the same test, dressed in a different face. I recognized it faster, I navigated the space between the surface and the real with more precision than before, because the tuition of the previous year had opened up the door to a sharper kind of reading of what I was walking into when I walked in with my eyes already having been through the thing in a previous chapter, in a previous year's clothing. And the knowing made the crossing less the losing, more the navigating of a man who has the map that came from the previous crossing, that came from the previous gap between what I expected and what the year delivered. I paid for every correction
and I was never bitter. Cheap wisdom is borrowed wisdom, and borrowed wisdom breaks when the moment comes that tests it. When the real thing is at stake, only paid wisdom holds under the full weight of the real, 'cause it was built from the actual, not from the how it should feel. Everything I know I paid for with a hard year. Every lesson that is real inside me cost it clear. Cost it in the blood and time and mourning of the thing. Everything I know I paid for with a hard year. That's what I bring. The second thing I paid for was the cost of the staying. Past the honest reading of the exit, past the praying for a change that was not coming in the room I'd given years to. I stayed because the familiar is a tax you keep on paying, without recognizing it as tax, because it's dressed as loyalty. 'Cause the length of time inside a thing becomes its own reality that replaces the assessment of whether it is worth the continued daily payment of your diminishing worth, of your actual capacity, of the hours and the years that are finite and are leaving with the seasons as they clear. I learned that lesson late, and I learned it in the full cost version of the class that teaches late students with the maximum immersion into the consequences of the lesson they ignore. When it was offered cheaper, when the cost was more affordable, able and the exit was still close enough to take, I paid the expensive version. I won't make the same mistake. Every year you stay past the honest knowing cost, more than the year before it, and the accumulation of the lost. Years is the most expensive thing a man can spend on a room that had his answer at the door and not the end. Everything I know I paid for. I paid for with a hard year. Nothing given free was worth what cost came dear. Nothing easy taught me what the difficult one did. Everything I know I paid for with a hard year. As a kid of this particular life that handed me its hardest lessons in the years when I was least the farthest along the road to ready, but most in need of knowing. Everything I know I paid for, and I'm still paying and still growing. Tonight the knowledge sits in the body the way learning sits, when it came from the experience and not from anything that fits in a book or a conversation or a well-intentioned speech. It sits in the posture and the extension of the reach. Before I trust the hand in that particular pause, before I open any door in that particular clause, I add to every agreement before I sign the name of the man who learned the hard way and is not going back to the same expensive education in a class he's already passed. Everything he knows he paid for, and the paying made it last. The hard years was intuition, and the tuition was the making, and the making was the man, and the man is still here taking every lesson that arrives now with the knowledge of the cost, and the knowledge of the value, and the knowledge that what's lost, and the pain is less than what is gained in the knowing. Everything I paid for is everything still growing. Everything I know I paid for with a hard year. Every piece of wisdom cost a price that wasn't clear. When I started paying, only visible at the
Nobody came, so I learned to be my own rescue. Nobody came when the floor gave and the walls withdrew. I waited long enough to know the weight was all mine. Nobody came, so I learned to be my own rescue. And I'm fine. Nobody came, and then nobody talked more than any arrival that I ever sought. It taught me what I carried when nothing else was there. Nobody came, so I learned to be my own rescue. Learn to bear. I called the number once, maybe twice, and then I stopped because the line that I was calling was already dropped by the people who had promised in the easier years to be present in the harder ones, to stay beside the fears that every man carries to the private dark hours that arrive without announcement, without reasonable hours of operation, and without the courtesy of timing. I called the number in the dark and heard the dial toning into the silence of the line that nobody was answering. And I sat with the receiver and I did my own accounting, what was available to me in the room where I was sitting, which was just a man inside the chest and whatever he was fitting together from the available materials of the moment, which were not much, but were mine and were components of a rescue that was slower than the ones you read about, but that worked because it had to and because there was no out. That didn't require me to be the one providing everything that needed to be done, and the deciding and the doing and the holding and the getting through the night. Nobody came, and so I came, and I came into the light. The absence of the rescue is the making of the rescuer. The nobody who doesn't come is the teacher of the one who stirs into the gap and fills it with the self that was always there, waiting to be called upon by the old man's own despair. Nobody came, so I became the one who does, not the hero of the story, just the man who simply was present in the room when nobody else arrived. Nobody came, so I became my own rescue, and I survived. The loneliness of that season was not the soft and poetic kind that sounds better in the telling than it was in the living inside. It was the practical loneliness of a man who needs a hand for the physical and daily things that just one man's hand cannot manage simultaneously, and has to manage anyway because the hand is his and it is the only hand in play. And I managed them not because I was built for it, but because the managing was the only option that fit into the space where someone else's presence used to live. And I had to fill the space with everything I could give of my own resources, of my own capability, of my own getting through the Tuesday with the necessary agility of a man who has no backup and has to be the backup for himself in every area that requires a feeling to step up beyond what single-handed management should ask, but asks anyway, because day has its own task, regardless of the resources of the man it's asking it of. And the man meets every asking with whatever is enough. Enough is not ideal, enough is just the clearing of the bar
that the day set for the man who is still here, and not because the bar was low, but because he cleared it in the particular season where the clearing most required it. Nobody came, so I became the one who knew how to find the floor beneath the floor and start from new. How to build the quiet practice in the absence of the help. Nobody came, so I became my own rescue from the shelf. I kept myself a pawn, and every year restoring everything I needed for the season that was pouring down on the man alone who had nobody coming, nobody came. So I learned to keep on running. Now look at every room I walk inside and see the man who came for himself when nobody came for me. Not with pride and not with damage, not with the wound on display, just with the particular knowledge of a self-rescued man's way of being in the world, which is quietly assured, which is rooted in the knowing that the ground is secured by his own two hands, his own 2 feet, his own particular morning practice of a man entirely grown into the capability he didn't know he had until the season that required it, in the year that was the hardest that he had up to that point. Survived in this surviving in every subsequent harder year, with the benefit of having already been his own rescue in the year nobody came, and arrived on the other side answering to his own name. Nobody came was the greatest gift of the hardest given kind. Nobody came, nobody left the whole man behind. In the room where he discovered what he was made of unknown. Nobody came, so I became my own rescue. Learned to bear. I called them number once, maybe twice, and then I stopped because the line that I was calling was already dropped by the people who had promised to know the weight was on.
The lonely were the making years. The years nobody watched were the years of no fears, held over me by the need for the room to confirm. The lonely years were the making years, and I learned. The lonely years were the building years, the years without the warmth, for the years without the veneer of performance and a management, and of the daily face. The lonely years were the making years, gave me my space. I used to mark them down as the years I lost. I used to count the lonely ones against the total cost of a life that should have had more company by now, more of the warmth that other men seem to know somehow. How to gather and maintain around themselves like heat. I walk the winners of the alone on the same cold street, and mark the winners down
sense of lack, of something that I hadn't found, that kept on being bad. At the start of every season, at the start of every year, and somewhere in the marking down, the truth became more clear, that the lonely years weren't empty, they were full of something else, full of the particular work that only does itself. When the room is clear to people, when the noise is gone to bed, when it's just a man and what he's building in the silence of his head, and his hands and his morning, and his particular practice of becoming the most honest version of his actual self, without the interference of what anyone required him to perform for their comfort in the years that had inspired him to spend the building hours on the management instead of the building that was waiting in the silence of the shed at the back of his own life that he finally opened in the year the crowd was absent, in the year the lonely chosen path through the particular winter gave him back the hours that the company had borrowed and returned them to his powers. The lonely years are not the years the man fell behind, they are the years the man caught up with his own mind, caught up with his own purpose, caught up with his own true, particular and honest version of the view from inside the life he's building without the commentary. The lonely years are where the real work gets primary. The lonely years, where the making years, every absent hand was the making of the man who appears today in this room with the particular weight. The lonely years were the making years. I wouldn't trade a single one of them for the company I missed. The lonely years were on the making years list of everything required to build the man I am. The lonely years were the making years, that's the program. In the loneliest year, I built the most, not the visible kind, but the kind that holds the most weight when it is tested by the subsequent seasons. The internal infrastructure built without the reasons the company provides for maintaining the performance of a self that is legible to the room in its accordance with what the room expects. I built without the room, I built in the particular quiet, but the 4 a.m. gloom that had no audience and no one to perform for. I built exactly what I needed, I built for what was more than the comfortable version that the company required. I built the actual man without the compromise that tired him out in the public years of managing the face. I built in the lonely years at the honest pace that the work required, not the pace the audience demanded. I built at speed of truth in the years I was left stranded by the circumstance of alone, and the circumstance was a gift. In the language of the hard years, the language of the lift that arrives in disguise is the thing you didn't want. The lonely years that built me are the years that still front. Every room I walk into is the foundation of the man. The lonely years are the making years. That was always the plan. The making is not visible to anyone but the maker. The lonely years
But his own particular morning had asked for nothing back, but gave him everything he needed on the long and lonely track. The lonely years were the building years. The years without the warmth were the I let them go without a second look. No chapter, no revision, no reread of the book. What was done, and what was gone, was gone. I let them go without a second look and carried on. Without a scene, no final word, no closing of the space between. Just a clean and simple act of moving forward from the door. I let them go without a second look and wanted nothing more. Some people teach you things by showing you what's not. Some lessons only live in what the leaving brought. I used to hold on longer than the holding served, past the point of useful, past what was deserved by either one of us, past the honest end, into the territory where the damage tends to blend with the familiarity, until you can't tell them apart, until the comfortable damage feels like the whole of the heart. I learned to feel the difference earlier than before, the difference between the person and the habit of the door, being open to them daily as though it were a choice, when it had become a pattern long after losing the voice that chose it in the first place. Long after the choosing, I let the pattern go, and I call the letting choosing, because a man who keeps what no longer fits is the man who has no room for what would actually fit inside the life he's building through. I'll let them go without a second look, without the grief performance, without the shook, and read a man who couldn't move without the weight. I let them go without a second look. It wasn't late, it was the right hour, the right day, the right kind of clean release. I let them go without a second look, and I found peace. There is a grief in the clean leaving that is not about the person, it is about the time inside, and all the years that worsen when you stay past the knowing, past the honest reading of the room. The grief is for the years, not for the ending coming soon. I grieve those years in private, in the way I grieve things now, without the public showing, without the when and how. I just sat inside the accounting of what had been exchanged, and when the accounting finished, I closed the book and changed the lock upon the door, without a letter inside, without a scene for anyone, without the wounded pride. Just the man and the decision, and the morning after it, when nothing had collapsed and everything still fit. The ones worth keeping don't require the performance of the loss. The ones worth grieving already knew the cost. I let them go without a second
a second look, it wasn't late. Now the space they occupied is occupied by something better, not filled for the sake of filling, not a replacement or a letter written to the absence, just a natural expansion of a life that has more room for its own actual mansion of interest in the people who arrived in the cleaner air that followed the releasing of everything that wasn't there for me in any real sense, in any honest way that produces the kind of morning I am glad to start the day inside of, with the people whose presence cost me nothing of who I actually am, and gives me back something. Letting go without a second look is not the cold man's way. It is the man who trusts the decision of the day he made in the honest hours when the truth was easier to see. He trusts himself enough to let the letting simply be. Time carried on, carried on. Carried on. I was already gone before they knew. Before the conversation, before the breakthrough, before the meeting where they planned to make their case, I was already gone before they knew I'd left the space. I was already gone before the door, before the question and before the asking for more time than I was willing to remain inside that room. I was already gone before they knew, before the gloom. They planned the intervention for a Tuesday in the spring. I had already been gone since the previous everything, since the moment that I clocked the ceiling in that place, since I mapped the walls precisely and found no remaining space for growth or for the version of myself I was becoming. I had already started my quiet private running toward the door that opened into somewhere I could be the actual man I was, moving actually free, not the managed and the edited, not the comfortable fit, but the one that filled the room without apology for it. They came to make their case on a Tuesday in the spring. I smiled and I thanked them for absolutely everything, and I was already gone 3 months before I left, gone in every real sense, long before the final breath of that particular chapter of that particular room. I was already gone before they even felt the gloom. This is how I leave things, not with fire and not with cold, not with a final statement, not with a story to be told, just a steady forward motion of a man who read the room completely and too early for anyone to assume. He was staying, he was happy, he was anything but done. He was already in the morning of the next thing to be run. I was already gone before they knew, before the handshake and the how do you do of endings that announced themselves with drama and with weight. I was already gone before they knew. I don't wait. I watch men stay inside the burning because the burning was familiar, because the shape of even damage can begin to feel peculiar, in the way that foreign things feel when you've lost the frame of reference for what the undamaged life felt like before. The preference for the familiar over honest took hold and made its nest inside the daily life, inside the managed chest. I leave before the burning starts to feel like home. I leave while the road still offers somewhere else to go. Not out of fear of damage, not out of fear of cost, but out of the understanding of exactly what is lost. When a man stays past the honest reading of the sign that told him 3 months earlier, this is no longer mine. To invest the remaining years inside, this is not the place. I was already gone before I showed the leaving face. The face that leaves is not the face that made the real decision. The real decision happened in the private and the quiet, with the kind of cold precision that a man develops when he trusts his own accounting more than he trusts the noise of every room around him. And it's endless mountain of reasons to remain past the honest reading of a man inside the chest who was already gone and leaving. I was already gone before they knew, before the conversation and the overdue acknowledgement that something here had ended long before. I was already gone before they knew I'd found the door. Now I sit inside what came after the already gone, and what came after is better than what I was already on. The road toward staying longer in the name of the familiar, the road toward the damage of the ordinary, peculiar comfort of the known thing, even when the known thing cost a man his actual life, cost a man his actual spring, his actual expansion into what he was becoming. I left before the cost arrived. I left while I was running toward a life that fit, not away from what I'd lost. I was already gone, and the going's worth every cost. Already gone is not abandonment. Already gone is reading true. Already gone is trusting what the honest man in you has already understood before the mouth could form the sentence. Already gone is moving with the kind of quiet that requires no repentance. I was already gone before they knew, before they knew, before they knew. Oh, before the drama and the overdue, before anyone could make the case for staying past the sign. I was already gone before they knew I'd found the door. Now I sit inside what came after the already gone, and what came after is better than what I was already on. The road towards staying longer in the name of the familiar, the road toward the damage of the ordinary,
ask permission to be this. Never waited for the nod, never begged the gist of someone else's understanding of the man inside. I never asked permission to be this. I just ride. I never asked permission to become the man that all the easier versions ran from. No apology for taking up the space I take. I never asked permission to be this wide awake. They always had an opinion about the size of my ambition, about the road I chose to walk, about my silence and commission, of the life I was designing, while they watched and called it cold. I was building something permanent, while they were being told by their own fear to shrink, by their own need to fit. I never heard that voice, or if I heard it, I let it sit outside the door at morning while I moved through the work, never asking if it mattered to the ones who called it hurt. That I was different, that I needed nothing back, that I moved without permission down a self-constructed track. The only voice that ever mattered in the choosing of the way was the one inside my chest at the start of every day, that either said yes or no to what the day was asking for, and never once consulted the opinion of the floor. I never asked permission to be this. Every room I walked inside, I gave it what I had to give. Not what they requested, not the version they prefer. I never asked permission to be this, and I was heard. Some men live their whole life seeking the approval of a room that will never give it fully, that will always leave the room for one more thing to change, one more edge to soften down, one more version of the man that fits the shape of town. I left that town behind me in the year I understood that the approval was conditional on me being less than good at being what I was, which was the problem all along. They wanted something smaller than the man who wrote this song. So I wrote the song without them, in the hours they weren't there, in the 4 a.m. dark with the cold around me, like a prayer that had no address sheet but myself and what I owed, the man I said I'd be when I first stepped on this road. Approval is a currency that costs more than it's worth. Every time you spend yourself to earn it from the earth of someone else's standard, you move further from your own. The man who needs no approval is the man who comes back home. I never asked permission outside the cage was waiting all along to be breathed. The man who never asked permission, never believed he needed it to start with. He just forgot for a while. He remembered in the silence, and he walked the final mile. I never asked permission to be this. No, never asked. Never asked. Never begged the room. Never needed the bliss of someone else's yes to make the choice real. I never asked permission. This is how I feel. How I feel. I never asked, never will. This is me, standing still, standing still. Lord, I never asked permission to be this. I just ride. I never asked permission to become the man that all the easy versions ran from. No apology for taking up the space I take. I never asked permission to be this. Wide awake. They always had an opinion about the size of my ambition, about the road I chose to walk.
Alone was never lonely for a man like me. Solitude was just the space where I could finally be every version of myself without the managed face. Alone was never lonely, it was my favorite place. Alone was never lonely, it was mine. The only room where everything ran clean and fine, where the noise stopped and the truth had room to breathe. Alone was never lonely for a man like me. I don't grieve. They always said go find someone to fill the empty chair. I looked at the empty chair and felt no need to share what the chair was holding, which was the particular piece of a man inside his own life with his own release. From the requirement to perform for any audience at all, to be exactly what he was against every standing wall of the life he had constructed from the years of quiet choice, to be alone and full, to be silent and have a voice inside himself that he could trust, to tell him what was true without the interference of what the room needed him to do. I found my own company long before I found anyone else. I learned to be the one I kept upon the shelf of the people I relied on, of the voices I believed, and what I found was steadier than anything received from outside in the years of looking for the thing that had been in the room all along, waiting there within. Alone was never lonely for a man like me. Solitude was never exile, it was the being free from the performing and the editing that company demands. Alone was never lonely for a man like me. I understand. I watched men drown in company rather than sit with their own name, rather than spend an evening in the room that they became, when no one was watching, when no one needed them to be the comfortable and managed version on display for free. To anyone who asked, would which was everyone who came through the door. They kept propped open just to never feel the same kind of silence I was choosing every evening of my years. The silence I had furnished with my own thoughts and my own gears, turning over everything that mattered and was real, while they were filling the silence with anything but feel what they actually were. In the room when it went dark, I was getting to know myself, and that was the whole art. Some men fear the mirror that the solitude provides. I went looking for that mirror. 30 years I looked inside, and what I found was not the terrifying thing they promised. It was just the man I was, standing there, the most honest he had ever been with me, and I had been with him. And the company we kept together never once went dim. Alone was never lonely for a man like me. Every quiet night was every night that I came free of the noise and the performance and the managed daily face. Alone was never lonely, it was grace. Tonight I sit inside this bar, surrounded and alone, and the alone is the more real of the two that I have known. Since I walked inside the door, the surrounding is just sound. The alone is where I live, the most honest ground I have ever stood on in any room all year. The alone is not the absence of something I hold dear. The alone is the presence of the man I actually am, without performance and without a diagram for how the man is supposed to occupy the space. The alone is just the man looking at his face in the reflection of the glass and recognizing what he sees, without surprise, without apology. Be alone is just being free. Lonely is the man who cannot stand his own company. I have stood in mine for 30 years and found it good for me. Found it honest and reliable. Found it there without conditions. Found it at the 4 a.m. of all the hardest missions. The company of self is the first and fine company. The man who has it needs no rescue from the empty. Alone was never lonely for a man like me. For a man like me, solitude was just the room where I was free. The only room that ever finally me. The only room that never asked me. It was my favorite place. Alone was never lonely, it was mine. The only room where everything ran clean and fine, where the noise stopped and the truth had room to breathe. Alone was never lonely for a man like I walked in needing nothing, and that was the power. Not the loudest man, not the man of the hour, just a man who required nothing from the room he entered. I
walked in needing nothing, and the whole room centered. I walked in needing nothing, and they felt it. The absence of the need, the way I held it, like a man who has already everything inside. I walked in needing nothing, and I occupied the tide. Neediness has a frequency. The room picks up the signal. Every request for validation lands like a distant jingle on the ears of everyone who is standing close enough to feel the pull of a man who hasn't built the stuff inside himself that makes the room unnecessary for the daily confirmation of the self he has to carry. I built that stuff alone, hey, in the years before the rooms, in the early morning practice, in the private working glooms of a life that was constructing something solid from the ground. And when I walked inside the rooms, I carried what I'd found, which was a man complete without requiring a single thing from anyone who happened to be listening. All I need is a leash that the room holds in its hand. The man without the need is the man the room can't command. And I cut that leash so early in the building of the self that by the time I entered rooms, I put the needing on the shelf. I walked in needing nothing, and that was the power. Not aggression, not coldness, not the man of the tower looking down on everything below. I walked in needing nothing, and I let the room know without saying anything, without a single word. I walked in needing nothing, and the whole room heard. There's a difference between the man who doesn't care and the man who doesn't need the caring to be there, to justify his presence or confirm his right, to occupy the space he occupies, to hold his own light. The man who doesn't care is just another wound, walking around performing the damage to the room. The man who doesn't need has built the thing inside that makes the need redundant, that makes the leash untied from any other person, from any other source. He walks through rooms like weather, like a natural force that doesn't ask the landscape for permission to arrive, that doesn't need the landscape to confirm that it's alive. I became that kind of man, not through coldness, through construction, through the daily quiet building of the self-contained function. The needless man is not the man who feels no connection. He is the man who chose the deeper, older direction of connection to himself, which frees every other bond from the weight of substituting for the thing that lies beyond what any room can offer, which is the actual self, fully present, fully furnished, standing without help. I walked in needing nothing, and that was the power. Every room became my room, every midnight my hour, every silence my companion, and every road my own. I walked in needing nothing. I was never alone. The room still tries sometimes to offer what I've built. They offer the approval, they offer the quilt.
of belonging and of fitting and of being understood. I take the warmth they offer in the way that I should, which is gratefully and lightly, without building the structure of my daily life upon it, without the architecture of my self-regard depending on whether it continues. I receive it as the gift that it is, and what remains after every gift departs is still the full man, standing in his own light, running his own plan. The man who needs the room gives the room his power. The man who needs nothing owns every hour, not in the sense of taking, but in the sense of keeping the center of his gravity inside his own keeping. I walked in needing nothing, and that was the power. That was the power. Lord, needing nothing, yeah. Every room became my room, every night my hour. I carried everything I needed in the chest. I walked in needing nothing, and I gave them my best, Lord. Needing nothing, yeah, needing nothing, needing nothing, needing nothing. Had everything, walked in, owned the room, Lord, yeah.
I let the years answer every doubt. No defense, no argument, no angry mouth. Just the slow accumulation of the work I did. I let the years answer every doubt like they always did. I let the years do the talking right, while they questioned everything. I kept the line in sight, kept the morning practice, kept the daily grind. I let the years answer every doubt and fell behind. Nobody left to doubt what I became. I let the years answer, I let the years reclaim every inch they said I'd never hold. I let the years answer every doubt, and the years were bold. They had opinions early about what I could achieve, about the road I'd chosen, about what I should believe, about my own capacity, about my ceiling height, about the kind of man I was and whether I had the right to want the thing I wanted, to build the life I planned. They measured me by metrics I didn't understand, because they were the metrics calibrated to their fear of what would happen if a man refused to disappear into the comfortable average of what they'd seen before. I refused with no announcement. I just opened up the door and walked inside the work and stayed there for the years, and let the years accumulate like the unanswered fears that couldn't touch me anymore, because the work was standing there as the only answer that I was willing to share. Not the argument, not the proof presented, not the case before the room assembled, just a fact of the thing built by the man they underestimated. Standing on the ground, he tilted. I let the years answer every doubt, every room that closed on me, every season of drought, every voice that measured me and found me wanting. Then I let the years answer every doubt, and the years said, when it's done, it's built to stand and without argument. I let the years answer, and the years were meant for exactly this, the quiet final word. I let the years answer every doubt, and I was heard. I remember every room that had the early verdict, every face for a man like me was limited, the ceiling low and fixed. I noted every verdict and I filed it in the list of things that would be answers, not by anything I'd say, but by the accumulation of the ordinary day after morning, after the private grind of a man who let the doubters keep the doubting in their mind, while he kept his hands moving, while he kept his eyes clear, while he let the work compound across the year after year until the compound became undeniable and the verdict had to change, became reliable. Evidence of the man they'd written off too soon. I let the years answer and the years cleared the room. Revenge is too expensive and too loud for what I needed. The years were the response that left every doubt defeated, without requiring anything from me but the continuing, the showing up and doing, the constant and the morning practice of the work that asked for nothing back, but kept on giving forward down the long and chosen track. I let the years answer every doubt, let the proof arrive without the shout, let the building stand without a black or name. I let the years answer every doubt, and they came through for everything I said I'd build. I let the years answer, and the years fulfill every promise I had made to only me. I let the years answer, and the years set me free. Tonight I sit inside the answer years, inside the thing I built without the tears of performing for the doubters or the drama of the proof. I just sit inside the structure of the permanent and true thing that grew from all the mornings that the doubters never knew were happening, were stacking, were becoming what remains when every doubt has spent itself and only building stays. The years don't ask for credit, they just keep the score. Everyone that passes builds a little more into the wall of evidence that needs no voice. The years answer everything for the man who makes the choice to let them do the talking, to trust the long game through. The years answer every doubt, they always do. I let the years answer every doubt, answer every doubt. Lord, let the years. No argument, no scene, no angry shout. Yeah, no argument, no scene, no angry shout. Just the work compounding through every season's turn. I let the years answer every doubt, and the years conform. Let the years do the talking. Every doubt fell quiet, fell quiet. Oh, yeah. I let the years answer every doubt, fell quiet. I let the years answer every doubt, like they always did. I let the years do the talking right, while they questioned everything. I kept the line in sight, kept the morning practice, kept the daily grind. I let the years answer every doubt and fell behind. Nobody left to doubt what I became. I let the years answer, I let the years reclaim every inch they said I'd never hold. I let the years answer every doubt, and the years were bold. They had opinions early about what I could achieve, about the road I chose. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left bigger. Every ceiling that they set became the trigger for the next expansion, for the next rebuild. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left filled
with more than when I came, with more than they had planned. Every room that tried to keep me small, I unmanned. The calculation of my limit and their measure of my worth. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left and left for more.
There are rooms designed for a certain size of man, rooms with invisible ceilings built into the plan of what the room can handle, of what the room can hold, of what the room considers acceptable and bold.
Enough but not too bold, ambitious but in range of what the room calls normal, what the room calls strange. I kept arriving at those rooms and finding the walls too close. I kept expanding past the frame while they kept up the dose of comfortable reduction of the managed average line that kept the room intact and kept a man like mine compressed into the version that the room had room to fit. I left every single one the moment I was hit by the ceiling and the breathing, by the wall and the motion, by the sense that this was costing more than every notion of belonging should require of a man who pays in full. I left every small room bigger, I left every small room whole.
Small rooms aren't always small by floor space or by air. They're small by the imagination of the people gathered there,
of what a man can be and what he has the right to claim. I stopped fitting small imaginations and I stopped adjusting my frame. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left bigger. Every no became the trigger for a yes I found inside myself alone. Every room that tried to keep me small,
I made my own. I've sat in rooms with men who decided very early what box I occupied and held the label nearly up to my face daily, as though I hadn't read it, as though the years of my own building hadn't superseded it. And I smiled and I continued, and I did the work beside them, and the work outgrew the label long before I tried them. Patience of explaining what was visible to anyone who was paying honest attention to the man and what he'd done. But small rooms don't pay attention to what doesn't fit the frame. They adjust the man before they'll adjust the frame of blame. They placed upon the ceiling, I just walked through the ceiling quietly without announcement, without the complicated feeling of requiring them to see it, of needing them to say that the man was bigger than the box they built for him that day. Every room that held me smaller was a room I left behind, not with anger, not with damage, just with the forward moving mind of a man who understood that the room was not the life was being built outside the room and through the strife of expansion, past the comfortable, past the measured and the known, into every open space that the leaving rooms had shown. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left bigger, left the small imagination, left the small room figure of the man they'd drawn before I arrived. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left alive. More than when I entered, more than when the ceiling pressed. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left expressed.
Tonight the room is big enough because I chose the room. I chose the ceiling height, I chose the afternoon and the morning and the company and the size of the ambition that is welcome at this table without the small condition it manageable, that I keep it in the range of what the comfortable average considers within range. This is my room now, built to the size I am. No ceiling in the breathing, no apology in the plan. Small rooms are everywhere, they wear a friendly face. They offer you belonging in exchange for the space. You take up when you're fully what you actually are, and the trade is never worth it, no matter how close or how far. The belonging feels from where you stand at the door, deciding whether to compress into the room or keep on riding. Every room that tried to keep me small, Lord, left big. I left every one of them standing tall, left bigger than the ceiling they had set. Every small room I left without regret. Without regret, without regret, Lord, left bigger, always bigger. Every room outgrew, Lord. Yeah. There were rooms designed for a certain size of man, rooms with invisible ceilings built into the plan. For the next expansion, for the next rebuild, every room that tried to keep me small, I left filled with more than when I came, with more than they had planned. Every room that tried to keep me small, I unmanned the calculation of my limit and the measure of my worth. Every room that tried to keep me small, I left and left for more. There were rooms designed for a certain size of man, rooms with invisible ceilings plugged into the plan of what the room can handle, what the room can hold, of what the room.
I was my own foundation, nothing borrowed, no base that someone else had laid, no base I'd followed, into a life designed for a different man's feet. I was my own foundation, nothing borrowed, nothing neat. I was my own foundation, all the way down, no handed over solid ground, no borrowed town to stand inside and call my without the work. I was my own foundation, nothing borrowed, nothing shirked. The borrowed life looks good from the road outside the window. It has the shape of built without the debt and without the ache of the building in the cold, with your own hands as the only tools and your own judgment as the only set of guiding rules. But the borrowed life is rented from the man who built the frame, and the frame belongs to him regardless of your name. On the door, on the account, on the years you spent inside. A man who builds his own has nowhere else to hide. When the frame gives away or the owner takes it back, he has the one he built, the permanent, the fact of his own construction. Every beam his own thought, every floor his own morning, every wall his own bought, with the coin of years that nobody can revoke, because they were his years and the building is his smoke, rising from his own fire, lit by his own hand, on his own ground that he found and that he planned. The borrowed foundation
collapses when the lender leaves. The own foundation stands in every storm and every freeze, because every crack is a crack you understand, cause every beam was placed by your own hand. And your hands know the building in the way that only builders know the whole structure from inside, from the ground up to the snow. I was my own foundation.
Nothing borrowed,
no easy ground,
no comfortable sorrow,
of a life designed by someone else's vision. I was my own foundation.
every decision
Mine alone and mine completely.
mine,
In every year of the constructing,
mine,
in
in
every code and every building,
nothing borrowed.
nothing. I watch men build on sand they mistook for stone. Borrowed confidence, borrowed ground, borrowed everything but bone. And when the season changed and the lender disappeared, the whole construction wobbled on the ground that they had feared. To build themselves from scratch, because the scratch required years, that the borrowed route was skipping with its comfortable shortcuts and its gears. Already turning when you arrived, already paved when you stepped on. I chose the unpaved road and I built as I went on. Not recklessly, not blindly, with the care of a man who knows that everything he's standing on is everything he owes to no one but the morning practice of the daily work of laying his own stone on never letting shirk. The man inside the chest from the job that he was given by himself and for himself in the life that he was living. Nothing borrowed means
Nothing can be taken back.
nothing borrowed means you own every crack. Yeah. Every imperfection in the surface of the ground
Is an imperfection
that you understand because you made it.
in the making of the whole.
Nothing borrowed, everything your own
Is the only ground.
was standing on alone. I was my own foundation.
Nothing borrowed,
No debt in the ground beneath, no ground I've sorrowed.
over losing.
When the lender changed their mind,
I was my own foundation.
built to last, designed by the man who lives inside the building,
Not by
any other hand.
nothing borrowed.
I was my own foundation. I was my own land. Tonight the ground beneath me is the ground I laid myself. In years nobody watched, in winters on the shelf of history that didn't seem to matter while they passed, but are the only reason that the current structure lasts. Under everything that lands on it, under every test the seasons bring, under every weight the life has required of this building, I feel the ground respond the way that only your own ground responds when you stand on it with your full weight without a sound of anything beneath you giving way or showing doubt, because the ground is yours and the ground knows what you're about. Nothing borrowed is not the pride of the isolated man. It is the freedom of the man who built according to his plan, and not according to the map someone lent him that would have taken him somewhere other than the place he meant himself to arrive at in the years of the building. Nothing borrowed is the only honest foundation worth the wielding. I was my own foundation.
Nothing borrowed,
Nothing borrowed, nothing shirked. The borrowed life looks good from the road outside the window. It has the shape of built without the debt and without the ache of the building and the code, with your own hands as the only tools and your own judgment as the only set of guiding rules. But the borrowed life is rented from the man who built the frame, and the frame belongs to him